All right, Brian A., can you read this?
ECMA script is a scripting language specification created to standardize JavaScript. The 6th edition, initially known as ECMA Script 6 and later renamed to ECMA Script 2015, adds significant new syntax for writing complex applications, including classes and modules, integrals, and for and of loops, generators, arrow functions, binary data, typed arrays, collections, maps, sets, and weak maps, promises, number and math enhancements, reflection, and proxies. In other words, ES6 is a superset of JavaScript ES5. The reason that ES6 became so popular is that it introduced conventions. It introduced new conventions and OOP concepts such as classes. In this module, we will cover the most important additions to ES6. So let's jump right on in.
And OOP is object-oriented programming, and this word was iterators up here. All right, so take a second and answer the first question. Okay. JavaScript and ES6 are different technologies for different purposes. No, it's just an add-on to JavaScript. All right. And Roger, can you read this one?
Yep. Var and let. In ES6, we have 3 ways of declaring variables. The type of declaration used depends on the necessary scope. Scope is the fundamental concept in all programming languages that defines the visibility of a variable. Var and let, unlike the var keyword, which defines a variable globally or locally to an entire function regardless of block scope, let allows you to declare variables that are limited in scope to the block, statement, or expression in which they are used. For example, in this case, the name variable is accessible only to the scope of the if statement because it was declared as let. To demonstrate the difference in scope between var and let, consider this example.
Okay, well, let's consider this for a second, what they're talking about. So with this one, if they were both named X, right? If we name both the variables X, then it's going to be affecting this X up here, right? But down here, with, well, this one being let and this one being let, okay, more likely what you would do actually is, like, if this one was var X and then this one was let X, right? Then you're using it just in this one, and you don't need to worry about the name, going across other, in other places. So like I tend to name things, like with Python, you have that same problem. So like I tend to like change names of things a little bit and just like make it DA, whatever the thing was, right? So by using let, it helps you avoid doing that just for like within loops and functions and stuff. So, all right, keep going.
One of the best uses for let is in loops. Here, the I variable is accessible only within the scope of the for loop where it is needed. Let is not subject to variable hoisting, which means that let declarations do not move to the top of the current execution content.
Okay. Take a second and answer the next question. Oh, I'll give you a little bit more time, since that one looks like you have to figure it out. Okay, so with this one, the output of the code is 4 and 2, because we've got our let v equals 2 and let v equals 4, but that's so in the context of this one, which is the first one it's going to print, it's going to be v is 4, but then when it gets outside of that if statement, then it's back to this, which didn't change. Like if it was a var, they would this would have changed. In the beginning, it would have been 4. It would have been 4 and 4. But since it's let, then it's its own thing outside the scope of this, and it prints 2. Okay. David, can you read this one?
Const variables have the same scope as variables declared using let. The difference is that const variables are immutable. They are not allowed to be reassigned. For example, the following generates are exceptions. Consts are not subject to variable hosting to, which means that const declarations do not move to the top of the current execution context. Also note that ES6 code will run only in browsers that support it. Older devices and browsers that do not support ES6 will run a syntax error.
Okay, so what this means is, what immutable means you can't be changed, right? So basically what they're saying is if you set something as a constant, then it's always going to be the same, as opposed to variables, which, I mean, that's why they're called variables. They can vary, they can change, and yeah, but with constants, it's always going to be the same once you've set it. So, oh, dang it. Well, here's the answer to this one. Const and let. Patricia, can you read this one?
Yeah. Okay. Template literals in ES6. Template literals are a way to output variables in the string. Prior to ES6, we had to break the string, for example. ES6 introduces a new way of outputting variable values in strings. The same code above can be rewritten as. Notice that template literals are enclosed by the backtick character instead of double or single quotes. The $ expression is a placeholder and can include any expression which will get evaluated and inserted into the template literal. To escape a backtick in a template literal, put a backslash before the backtick. And then London is the capital of Great Britain. Complete the function to return a string in the required format for your country card program.
All right. So again, with this stuff, it's basically just anytime you're wanting to add something into a string instead of having to break it up like this. This is just an easier way. And you can do this multiple times. Like you can have multiple variables that you're inserting into the string, into the same string. So it's very useful because all the plus and then more quotes and stuff can get annoying. It's the same as dot format in Python, which you guys have used a little bit. So something to relate to. All right, take a second and, or not a second, but go ahead and do this one and let me know when you're, do raise hand when you're done.
Brandon, if you're talking, I think you're muted.
Oh shoot. I've been talking for like days.
Yeah.
My bad. Okay. So anyway, yeah, for this one, we just take the function and complete it by just having it return with the backticks, the thing we just learned, and doing the $ curly brackets with the name of the variable in there that we want, and just have it logged to the console, and you're good to go. Is anybody having trouble with this one and need help? It's not working for you. If so, just unmute and let me know.
Yeah, I'm still working it.
Okay, do you need me to just leave it on the screen longer, or do you need help?
Yeah, just leave it on the screen a little bit longer,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
Return. So return.
What the heck?
Ravens going to carry forward. Pass was blocked. Right back to him. Off to the wide for Anthony Robinson. Okay, got a huge shout from Payne.
I feel like I have it copied down pretty good, but it's not working for me.
Okay. Can you do screen share?
Yeah.
Accidental contact. Ends up scraping down the back of the leg.
You don't have the $ in front of the capital. Right there, you go. And then go ahead and hit run, and you're good to go.
Thanks.
Okay. David, did you still need it up?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I
Here, can you
haven't.
do screen share?
Sure.
The second half against Wales might have saved the USA's World Cup with that rugby tackle of Gareth Bale, who was looking to score from midfield, and that turner out of his goal in the final seconds. Sergeant, good pressure. Columbia, we get away though. Rodos running it guess. Rodos hooking that in behind the target, diving headed by Robinson on all the way clear.
It looks like country and capital are spelled wrong.
Yeah, and also you used it looks like you used quotation marks instead of backticks. The backtick is the thing on the far left top button on your keyboard, right above the tab. There is the backtick. So delete those and put the backtick.
Trying to get there. He's got what? Vickers gets the first one. Just can't wrap around it enough.
It's the same one with the little squiggly line or whatever. For like Hispanic words. The accent, I think. It's not called that. I don't know what it is.
Where are they located at?
It's the very top left button on your keyboard, right above the tab. With it goes along with the little wavy line thing. There you go. Okay, now try running it. Oh yeah, it's probably misspelled.
Because of the pressure.
Mm,
5 minutes to go.
no.
No.
The words you hear a lot of soccer is suffer.
Well, just go ahead and because it looks right. So go ahead and copy it. Hold on.
Yeah, country and capital are still spelled wrong.
Yeah, go ahead and copy it on line 2, and then just use that.
Oh. See,
Noise and intensity is only building. They desperately run and circle the goal and send them on for the first time in their history to knockdown stage.
Okay, now hit run. Oh, yeah, it's in your. Yeah, you have to spell it right there. Okay.
Hey, a pair of hugs.
And there you go.
Just a foul number
Okay.
4.
Does anybody else need help with this one, or are we good?
Yes, me.
Okay, can you do screen share?
Yes, one moment, I have to find it. Okay, shoot, it's here. Desktop. Are you able to see it?
Yeah.
Okay, I just have to figure, why isn't this moving? Sorry, I have to move some stuff around for some reason. Okay, now,
Go to the problem, because I think you're missing like. Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, never mind. It says in the thing. I think your problem is with spaces or something. Hold on.
After capital.
Yeah. Add a space after. Wait. No. Okay. No space after France. Okay. Actually, it wants you to delete the spaces. So delete. Yeah. After capital, delete that, and try hitting run. No.
it's weird because my output is the same
Oh,
as
wait.
the output, but for some
It
reason,
it does want a space at. Okay, it wants a space after the colon,
the colon.
I think. Hold on, I gotta look at mine. One sec.
And after the comma.
And after the comma, okay.
Yeah.
Yep,
There
now,
you go.
perfect, thank you.
All right. So anybody else need help with this one, or are you guys good to go? Okay. Well, let's move on then. So for this one, the $sign and MSG, because we let message be this. So, all right. Which one did we just do? Oh yeah, we did London. That's right. Kevin, can you read this one?
Loops in ECMA script 6. In JavaScript, we commonly use the for loop to iterate over values in a list. The for in loop is intended for iterating over the enumerable keys of an object, for example. The for in loop should not be used to iterate over arrays because depending on the JavaScript engine, it could iterate in an arbitrary order. Also, the iterating variable is a string, not a number. So if you try to do any math with a variable, you'll be performing string concatenation instead of addition. ES6 introduces the new for of loop, which creates a loop iterating over iteratable objects. During each iteration, the val variable is assigned the corresponding element in the list. The for of loop works for other iterable objects as well, including strings. The for of loop also works on the newly introduced collections map, set, weak map, and weak set. We will learn about them in the upcoming lessons. Note that ES6 code will only run in browsers that support it. Older devices and browsers that do not support ES6 will return a syntax error.
All right, so this is important because this is a much easier way to do loops. And this is when we move on to Python, this is the only way you can do a for loop in Python. It looks just like this for of loop, where basically it just, instead of having to do the, plus equals, blah, 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 it just knows, okay, we're going to go over everything that's in this list, right? So you do for, and then, this val is just for each, the val stands for, it's the same as like if you did I, when you declare your variable in the loop, right? It's the same as that. And then, well, except if you did like if we were in here and did list I, right? Because it's whatever the value is of that current of the current item in the list, right? So the first one that's going to come up is X, then it moves on, does Y because that's the next one in the list, and then to Z. So it's a much more efficient, and this is much more like other programming languages, how you're going to do for loops. So it's good to know, and you definitely need to understand this concept. So does anybody not understand what this is doing for the for loop?
I don't know. I'm still in the beginning of studying something. So
Okay, yeah. So, okay, good, because I want to make sure you guys do understand it. So I'm glad you spoke up, because there's probably other people who don't understand and aren't speaking up. So basically, with the for loop, it's going to, whatever we put after of, so of list, it's going to go through each item. So let's add some more. So it's going to go through each item in this list one at a time, is what's happening in this iteration. So in these curly brackets, just like everything else, where in the curly brackets it's doing whatever, it's executing this block of code, right? This for loop goes through everything, or everything in this list one at a time. So the first iteration, it comes through, and the first number is W, right? So val is just what it is going to stand for whatever the first item is, right? So it's going to print W, then X, then Y, then Z, right? So like we could do something like right, and then it's just I'm trying, let me think of an example of when you would use it. Well, a lot with SQL, but we haven't got to that yet. Well, yeah, just basically anytime. So let's say we've built a list of different user inputs or something, right? And we want to go over, we want to print all the different inputs to the screen on a different line or something. Like you could do that because you're building this list. You don't know how long the list is. So instead of doing a for loop by doing for I equals 0, comma, and then I less than 10, and then I plus plus. So instead of doing it this way, and then doing console.log. Actually, we shouldn't do less than 10. It'd be list length. So instead of doing it, oh, where did I not put it? Hold on. What's going on here? Well, I don't know, but instead of doing it this way, where it goes through, okay, it starts on the first one, right? And the first one in the list is that, and then it goes to the next one, right? This is just a faster way of writing the same thing. Hold on one sec, sorry.
You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
I think he's on the phone.
Yeah, I said I had to go for a sec. But so anyway, does that make sense now? Like how it iterates through each thing, or do I need to explain it more? Or maybe tell me what part's not making sense.
So the iteration is basically used to find or locate something, correct? Or is it just
It's to cycle through all the different things in your list, or I guess these are called arrays. So it's the way to cycle through everything in your array. Does that make sense?
right? Yeah, but so when it cycles through, what is it looking for? that's something that we have to specify?
Yeah. Like it's up to you when to use it. Like
Oh, okay.
if you built the list and you want to go through everything that's in the list and then process it or whatever, that's when you would use it, right? And it's up to you. Like I was saying before, you could use it for like if you built a list of different user inputs, right? And then you wanted to cycle through all of them to print them all to the screen, like that would be one example. Or like there's just lots of other times when you would use it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Anybody else
Brandon,
clear on this one?
Yeah, I've got a question on it.
Yeah, what's up?
The process makes sense, and I was able to get the question, but I get thrown off consistently when, so for example, in this equation on line 3, the word val, is that a predetermined word that we should be using, or is that just an arbitrary name they gave that?
That's just something they gave it. Like we could make it I, and it works the same. It's whatever you want
Got
to.
it. Okay.
It could be this, and as long as you use it in your code, it's still gonna run. So
All right. Good to go. Thanks.
okay. Anybody else have any questions on this? Because like I said, it is something you guys should need to comprehend, because you'll be using it a lot more when we get to Python. Okay. Well, if you do have questions later, just let me know. All right, so go ahead and get started on this. And let me know, do raise hand once you're done. All right, looks like a lot of you are done. So we'll go through this one. A student needs to score at least 70 points to pass an exam. The given program declares an array with results. Write a program to count and output to the console the number of students who pass the exam. So we just create a for loop of for I of scores, because this is the scores, and each time I is above or equal to 70, then we just add to this variable num passed 1, and then at the end print it to the console. So anybody struggling with this one still and need help? And if you did it differently and still it worked for you, then that's fine. Anybody struggling with this one and need help? If so, just unmute and let me know. Anybody need me to leave this on the screen a little bit longer? No? Okay.
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. And then let me know when you're done, Bill. Bill, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Are you still working on it?
No, you can go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I said let me know once you're done. All right. So moving on. And the answer to this one, for and of. Okay. Samantha, can you read this one? Samantha, are you there?
Yeah, I'm not on the same one for some reason, so I'm trying to figure out. Okay, there we go. Prior to ES6, a JavaScript function was defined like this. ES6 introduces a new syntax for writing functions. The same function from above can be written as add equals let some equals. The new syntax is quite handy when you just need a simple function with one argument. You can skip typing function and return, as well as some parentheses and braces. For example, the code above defines a function named greet that has one argument and returns a message. If there are no parameters, and an empty pair of parentheses should be used, as in constant. The syntax is very useful for inline functions. For example, let's say we have an array And for each element of the array, we need to execute a function. We use the for each method of the array to call a function for each element. However, in ES6, the code above can be rewritten as the following. The code is shorter and looks pretty nice, doesn't it?
So I honestly don't use that. I have no problem typing the word function. So I usually just type the word function. So don't feel like you need to use this way. But if you want to, you definitely can. And you will see this a lot in other people's code. Like, yeah. So it's good to understand and good to know, but if you're content just writing functions the way we've been doing it, that's totally fine. Any questions on this? Nope. Okay. All right. Oh, dang it. Well, anyway, there you go. Here's this one. Okay. And Mark, can you read this one?
Default parameters in ES6. In ES6, we can put the default value right in the signature of the functions. Here's an example of an arrow function with default parameters. Default value expressions are evaluated at functions called time from left to right. This also means that default expressions can use the values of previously filled parameters.
Okay. Go ahead and take a second and answer your next question. And if you're not understanding what it's saying, it's like when you're creating a function, right? Let's say they don't that they call your function, but they don't pass in all of the parameters, they only pass in the first one, then it's going to use these if they don't as the default, but it gives them the option of passing in the other ones. So answer this one is 42. What's the output of this code? Well, we've got the function magic with a as a required variable and then default variable of b. And since they only passed in 2, a plus b, 2 plus 40 is 42. All right. So, all right, I have some questions. I didn't get responses from everybody last week when we were doing the demographics questions. So let me see who I still need answers from. Give me 1 second.
Probably me, since I missed that week from my wife being in the hospital.
Oh, okay. Well, give me 1 second. I'll get what I need from everybody. 1 sec.
The pressure knocks it away.
Oh, here it is. Okay, I do have answers from Brian, Mike, Peter, Patricia, Samantha, Lewis, Kevin, Sandra, David, and Jacob. So if I did, oh, let me turn off recording 1 second.